Hi, welcome to the Rock and Roll Painter Show. My name is J.D. Wayne, and I am the Rock and Roll Painter. A few years ago, when I got started in the world of art instruction, I did some demonstrations around town where I painted to music. And I soon discovered I could paint an entire painting in the framework of one song. So I put on the top hat, put on the sunglasses, and the Rock and Roll Painter was born. But in this environment here, there's some copyright issues regarding music, so we're just going to show you how you can do a painting today. Okay, today we got a 16 by 20 canvas. I have a white medium up here. This is going to be a wet on wet oil painting. And down the bottom here I have some, it's called Blue Moon Gesso. You can paint oil over acrylic, and that will give me some shadows with the snow and everything. It just makes it a little easier on me. This painting is called Sunrise in Indiana. So let's see what we can do to create a nice little painting. I got a whole list of colors here that we're going to be running across the screen. But with my 2-inch brush, I'm going to go into some yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a nice gold color. It's going to give me the start of the sunrise. Just make little X's along here, along the bottom here. This is where we're going to have the glow of that sunrise. I'm going to go right into some cad yellow without even cleaning the brush. Go right into some cad yellow. You'll start seeing the glow of that sunrise come to life here. Get some of that yellow up in here. We'll mix some of those colors into it. Get all the way across the canvas. Without cleaning the brush, I'm going to go right into some cad red light. Some cad red light. Work some of that red into here. This might look a little sloppy at first. Once I get all these colors on, do some blending, it'll all make a little more sense. From that cad red light, I'm going to go into some cad red deep. Cad red deep. Get some of that color going in here. Some of that cad red all the way up in here. And from that, we got a color called deep red rose, just another layer of that red. I see sunrises like this all the time in Indiana. That's what kind of inspired this painting. And this painting was kind of loosely based on a painting by a friend of mine, Wilson Bickford, that he did a real good painting, and it inspired this painting. So from those, I'm gonna go into some dioxazine purple. You see all those colors we got going in the sky. It's a real colorful Indiana sunrise. Pull some of that color down into here. Real loosely have that color up into the sky. And then we got one more color we're gonna put up there, some ultramarine blue. Get some of that blue up in there. Pull some of that blue down here. Get real dark in the corners. If it starts in the corners, it kind of pulls your eye towards the center of the painting. Then we're going to wipe some of this color off this brush and do a little blending. We'll just take a little smaller brush here. I'm going to get a little bit of white. Just going to brighten this back up in the middle here. Just brighten it up a little bit. We're going to pull some of these colors together. Really blend all these colors together, really create that Indiana sunrise sky. But sunrise and sunset, it's all in how you want to see this painting. It could be a sunset, but I see it as a sunrise. I like sunrises better than sunset because I think a sunrise is full of hope and promise. And a sunset just means that's one less day you've got to do anything. That day's over and gone. You'll never see it again. A little hair in the painting there, we'll get that off there. But sunrise to me is full of hope and promise. Full of hope and promise. We'll get some of that dark color mixed around. See how quickly we can come up with a nice Indiana sunrise. Okay, we'll go with that. Now I'm going to take a flat brush here. Flat brush, I'm going to mix me up a little color. Take a little of the dioxazine purple, and a little bit of the blue, and a little bit of the titanium white. I want just a little on the purple side, because if it mixed with that, if it was bluish, mixed with that yellow, we'd have some green foothills. But there's going to be some far away little foothills with this purple color. I'm going to create some foothills. These are far off in the distance, why they'll have that kind of purplish color onto that yellow sunrise. We'll let that color just kind of fade off into the bottom. Go back to my little small brush here. Let that color kind of fade off into the bottom down there. Fade off. Now I want to define a couple of those hills a little bit more, so I'll get a little bit more of that color. You can kind of see the top of that hill, the top of that hill, and the top of that hill, and then just fade that color out again. Hear my easel shaking. I don't know how that comes across on the audio, if you can hear that. There's some far off foothills looking across Indiana. And even maybe, if I take some of that color, maybe a little darker, might have some little far off tree line back here that you can see. When I pull this tape off here, you'll see we'll have some more little hills grow, but we're going to create some distance in this painting. The trick is to take a flat canvas and create some distance in it. So this will give the illusion of some far off little trees. Maybe a little darker down there so those will show up. Against those foothills far away. Now we'll put that painting up. Now I'm going to pull this tape off. That kind of helped give me a nice horizon that we were working with. I'm going to keep my hands clean. Last thing I want to do is get some paint on my hat, so we'll keep my hands clean here. Now we're going to take a small brush and get some clear medium just to make this canvas wet down here. This is a wet on wet technique. So we just want to get this, like I said, this blue acrylic gesso will help with the shadowing in the snow. There's going to be some snow hills up here in the front, and that blue moon gesso, you can see some of the hairs coming out of this fan brush. That's typical no matter what you paint. Just take them off as you go. I don't know if those are showing up on camera. You can see those hairs in there, but we just want to get this wet down here a little bit. A little more of this clear medium. Just scrub that in, get it nice and wet around there. We'll put that up. I need to clean up my big brush. I got a little bit of odorless cleaner here, odorless thinner. Dry this brush out. Say I want to keep my hands clean. Got to keep my hands clean. Now with a little bit of titanium white. I'm going to create a little foothill or a little hill far off. These hills are going to become closer as they come to you. You're going to get more defined. This is a far off hill with these trees set on back here. Sometimes I can't think and paint and talk all at the same time. We pull a little bit of that shadow color. Pull a little bit of that color, help create some shadows back here. I'm just going to lightly let this paint kind of fade off. Let it kind of fade off into that blue. You can see where it kind of makes some shadowy effects in that blue. And I get some more of this titanium white. Load up both sides of the brush. Have another little foothill in front, another little hill in front of that. You see it start to create some distance in that painting. Start to create some distance. I'll just spread some of this white out. You can see that shadow. I won't cover the whole painting down here. You see some of that blue coming in for shadows into the snow. Get some of that up here, but I think we need a couple big trees in this painting. So we'll just let that go for now. We got a little bit of base color there. Oh, we need to get a little bit of that. That light would be reflecting off the snow. So we'll get some of those reds in there, some of those purples in there. That color would be reflecting off the snow. And we blend that a little bit, that'll give some continuity with that sky. But we'll set that brush aside. I'm gonna mix up a little bit of a blue and a purple, maybe a little bit of black. Get a nice dark color. We can create some pine trees. Get some nice dark color going there, put that back. We'll go with a fan brush. I'll load that fan brush up. Load that fan brush up. Both sides, you see that brush is loaded up. We're going to tap in to kind of make sure we got good distribution of paint. See, I see a pine tree about right here. And that just gives me an idea of where the tree is going to go. That's not the trunk of the tree, just kind of lets me know where that tree is going to go. Now with this fan brush, I'm going to come in with just the corner and just kind of start tapping a little bit. Just kind of start tapping and let that tree start forming. As I come down, I get more pressure, more of the brush involved. You see that tree starting to grow right out of that canvas. And that dark color on that yellow background really has some nice contrast, really shows up. So we'll bring that tree all the way down to about right there. And we got room over here. Let's do another tree. Same thing, so this one will be a little bit shorter. Decided where we want that tree to go. If we bring him down a little bit, that'll make it like he's a little closer. Once again, just start touching, start tapping as you come down. If you keep this paint thick in the middle, you have branches that are kind of growing out and growing to the back. You don't just have branches growing out to the side. And then every now and then you just kind of pop one out. It's very quickly how easy those trees just kind of fall right out of that fan brush. See, by bringing this tree down a little bit closer, a little lower, it makes it look like it's a little closer. So I'm gonna go back and get some more of the white. I'm gonna go with my 1-inch brush here. Go with my 1-inch brush, get a little bit of the white, and we'll pull a little bit of that color down. Kind of sets that tree down into, sets him right onto the ground. Set that tree right down there. You can see those trees looking good there. Now I see a birch tree back there. So we're gonna get a small little flat brush. Go into this black. And we're gonna have us a little birch tree right here. It's gonna come down. And sit about right there. And these birch trees, you've seen them grow together. There's always like a couple of them together. So we'll have another side. This birch tree comes right down. Maybe a little shadow, set him on the ground. We'll blend that out here in a second. Now I'm gonna take my knife. I'm gonna turn that into a birch tree with a little bit of white on the edge of the knife. I don't know if you can see that. I'll show you a little bit of white on the edge of the knife. I'm going to turn this into a birch tree. Just kind of touch to the side, pull a little bit. We can turn this tree into a little birch tree. Get a little bit more of the white. Come over to this tree. Pull a little around there. Just kind of pull it around and kind of get some shape to that tree. Like I'm running out of white. Get some more white. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Get some more white on my knife. Pull some of that white this way. Those birch trees are real distinguished. You can really distinguish them by the way the bark, real papery and kind of peels off the tree. We're going to come back with some dark color and really add to that to really give it that effect. Get some more of that white going. Now with just straight black, I'm going to come in with just a little bit of black. Come right down the center of that tree. And when this paint dries, there'll be some texture to this tree by doing this, and that really helps give that birch feel to that tree. Some that black all the way up there. We'll go over here and get his friend. Get some of that dark color into there. There, that's the basic shape of a birch tree. But that tree looks kind of funny without some limbs, so we need to get some limbs going in that tree. So I'm gonna get a liner brush, get a little bit of the odorless paint thinner, come into my dark color. If I can show that there we go. There's a good view of it. Good view. You need a thin paint to really get those nice thin limbs, and this long liner brush does a great job for that. So I roll that around, load up lots of thin paint. Then we'll come up to the canvas here, kind of steady my arm, kind of create some limbs growing off this birch tree. Have some limbs coming off that side, something coming right off the top. And see, if you're doing this at home, you got time to do all the little branches you want. Here we're kind of under the gun, so we're just going to do a few so you get the idea of how to make some branches. Get some more of that paint. Come over to this tree. Let those branches kind of go in front of each other. That'll help give some depth to it. Trick is a light touch to really get some nice thin little limbs growing off that. Some limbs coming off that side out into that yellow. That contrast of that black against that yellow really makes those limbs stand right out. There we go. I'm liking the way that's all looking. It's a busy little tree there, so we'll clean that brush out real quick. Put him back in the rack. Gotta be careful when you paint. You gotta keep your hands clean. I got blue all over my hands. Like I say, last thing I want to do is get my hat painted on. I've painted a lot of paintings with this hat on. I want to keep it clean. But we're gonna do another little evergreen, another little pine tree in front of that. First thing I'll do is kind of soften that shadow down on that tree. Kind of set that shadow into the ground. I'm gonna go back to my dark color, back to my fan brush, back to my dark color. It was that purple and blue, a little bit of black. Really load that brush up. And I'm gonna put another little evergreen. Put that in front of this tree. It'll push those birch trees back a little bit. Once again, I just touch with the corner. As I'm coming down, get more of the brush involved. Trees have a truncating shape like a Christmas tree. It means they're wider on the bottom than they are on the top. This fan brush does a great job to make these evergreens. Bring him down to here. Kind of come back, clean up a couple spots. The top looks a little rough to me. I'm gonna clean that top up a little bit. There, I like the way that tree's looking. Now if I take a smaller brush, just drop that brush. So we'll just take another fan brush. I'm gonna go into a little bit of my white medium, a little bit of white, a little bit of my blue color. I'm gonna put a little bit of highlight on this tree. Not a whole lot, but it's gotta be a nice thin paint. Really tap, really open that up. Just want a lighter value, just to give a little bit of highlight to that. So really tap. And we'll just start over here, just kind of touch around this tree in a few places. Just gives a little bit of highlight to that tree. Just kind of gives him some shape. Come over to this tree, give him a little bit of highlight to that guy. See a little bit more, need a little bit more of my paint. Give a little bit of highlight there. Little bit of highlight on this guy. And I want to set that tree down into the ground. I go to my 1-inch brush. Go to my 1-inch brush, get some of that white paint on here. Kind of set this guy down on the ground. He was kind of floating out there in the middle of nowhere. Kind of set him down on the ground. And you see now all that blue canvas we had at first makes it so you use a lot less white paint. And the last thing you want is the canvas to look all white. I mean, you see a lot of shadows and stuff in snow. Just set them on the ground, pull some of that color around. And you stand back and look at it, and I like the way that's coming together. And now I'm gonna take a liner brush, a little bit of thinner, go back into my dark color. And one of the favorite things I like to do with a painting, sign my name. JDW. So there. Once again, the name of that painting is Indiana Sunrise. I really love the colors in that. Let's see what this thing looks like in a frame. Whenever you get a painting done, I love to see it in a frame. So we're going to take this off here real quick without making a lot of noise. We're going to come over here and put her in a frame. Okay, here we go. Like I say, I always love to see the finished work in a frame. You get it framed and hung up on a wall, you can really see what you've done. So we'll just clip that guy right in there like so. Set him up on my easel. And there you go, look at that. That is my version of Sunrise in Indiana. So this has been the Rock and Roll Painter Show. I'm JD Wayne. Thanks for watching.